3 Little Empaths. Once upon a time, there were 3 little empaths who lived with a wise old empath. The wise old empath felt that more good needed to be done in the world, so she sent the 3rd little empaths out into the world. And besides, she wanted to be able to binge-watch box sets of Baking with Goodness without interruption. As she waved goodbye to the 3 little empaths, she called out, "Go into the world, my little empaths, and spread your goodness all around. But please watch out for the narcissists. They are not easy to spot, and make sure you all build a good home on the foundation of no contact. There is only one architect you should look for. He is called Hurt God." "We will," chorused the 3 little empaths as they headed off into the world. The 3 little empaths soon set about commencing their good works, and it was not long before pods of gay, blind whales were being saved. A GoFundMe account was up and running for oppressed men with beards and of diminished stature, and crochet 'cause you care clubs sprang up across the land. Yet there was much wailing and gnashing of teeth, as each of the 3 little empaths fell foul to the lure of the narcissist. After glorious golden periods and devilish devaluations, the 3 little empaths each made an escape bid. The first little empath was scurrying along the yellow brick road, seeking to escape the narcissist, as he remembered the words of the wise old empath. "I need to build a house founded on no contact. Wise old empath told me to find Hurt God, but that sounds like such hard work, and I was hoping to bake some gullible tarts this afternoon. Oh, what am I to do?" Just then, a woman rounded the yellow brick road. "Hello, first little empath. Did I hear you need to build a house of no contact?" she asked. Yes, I do, that be me. Who are you, then?" asked the first little empath. I'm hysterical tirade. I know about no contact," replied the woman. "You do?" asked the first little empath with enthusiasm. "I was told to use the architect Hurt God, but it does sound like hard work in finding him." Oh, it is, you know, and he's not a pleasant man. You don't want to use his work. My work is just really a personal rant about the narcissist that ensnared me. But don't let that distract you from how brilliant my advice is. Here, take this book." "Oh, thank you so much," said the first little empath. "Now I can build my house of no contact and do some baking." And the first little empath used the book provided by Hysterical Tirade to build a house of no contact on the spot where he was stood. Not much later, as the first little empath was rolling the pastry for the gullible tarts, he heard a familiar voice. Little emp, let me come in." It was an ogre of a lesser narcissist. "Shove it, douchebag!" shouted the first little empath defiantly. "Then I will shout, and I will scream,
and I will make a huge din, so I can ensure I hoover you straight back in,
growled the lesser narcissist. The first little empath smiled, for he was in a house of no contact. But then he paused, as he felt a cold hand of dread about his throat. How did you be finding me, then?" he asked.
"Ha ha ha ha,"
laughed the lesser narcissist.
"Look next door."
The first little empath looked out of the window and saw across the garden was the man that he knew as Lieutenant, waving back at him with a sardonic grin.
"Damn,"
cursed the first little empath.
"Hysterical tirades guide to the house of no contact. Said nothing about building next the house of Lieutenant. What a useless book that was. She don't know what she be talking about." "What a shame,"
smiled the lesser narcissist, as he strolled up behind the first little empath, slung him over his shoulder, and set off back to Narctown, leaving the first house of no contact to crumble behind them. The second little empath was hurrying along the road, paved with gold, seeking to escape his narcissist, as he remembered the words of the wise old empath.
"Okay, I need to build a house founded on no contact. Wise old empath told me to find her God, but that sounds like such hard work, and I was hoping to knit some hats of eternal hope this afternoon. Oh, what am I to do?"
Just then, a man rounded a corner of the road that was paved with gold.
"All right, La. Hello, second little empath. Did I hear you need to build a house of no contact?"
he asked, as he adjusted his vest and gave a smile.
"Och, yes I do. Who are you?"
asked the second little empath.
"I'm Smooth Amateur. I know about no contact, La,"
replied the man.
"Oh, you do?"
asked the second little empath with enthusiasm.
"I was told to use the architect Hurt God, but that sounds like hard work in finding him."
"Hey, La, it is. And he's a psychopath, you know. So he's a pathological liar. You don't want to use his work. My work is really just a collection of some fairly good ideas to essentially make me look like a hero in front of all of the birds, whilst not really conveying the reality. But don't let that distract you from how brilliant my advice is. Here, take this book."
"Oh, thank you so much. Now I can build my house of no contact and do some knitting."
And the second little empath used the book provided by Smooth Amateur to build a house of no contact on the spot where he was stood. Not much later, as the second little empath was knitting busily in his parlour, he heard a familiar voice.
Little emp, let me come in."
It was a cowardly, mid-range narcissist.
"Oh, beat it, loser!"
shouted the second little empath defiantly.
"Then I will plead, and I will cajole, and I will smear you with sin, so I can ensure I hoover you straight back in,"
cried the mid-range narcissist. The second little empath smiled, for he was, of course, in a house of no contact. But then he paused, as he felt a cold hand of dread about his throat.
"Wait, how did you know that I would be here?" he asked.
"You've been plastering yourself all over basefuck
twatter, narc magnet, and plenty of narcs. You gave plenty of detail about what you're doing and where, and you didn't block me," smiled the mid-range narcissist with an oily grin. "Och, damn!" cursed the second little empath. "Smooth Amateur's Guide to the House of No Contact said nothing about staying off social media and blocking you. What a rubbish book. He knows fuck all about no contact." "What a shame," smiled the mid-range narcissist. "But it's not all bad. After all, you should be looking after me now," as she strolled up behind the second little empath, took him by the hand, and set off back to Narctown, leaving the second house of no contact to crumble behind them. The third little empath was scurrying along the road to hell paved with good intentions, seeking to escape her narcissist, as she remembered the words of the wise old empath. "I need to build a house founded on no contact. Wise old empath told me to find hurt God, and by the lack of hairs on my smooth chinny chin, I will find this mysterious hurt God," she declared with resolve. So the third little empath walked the road to hell paved with good intentions, and was repeatedly offered books, videos, courses, and seminars on how to build the ultimate house of no contact by many people. She ignored various providers, such as Miss Unsupported Bonkers Theory, Unduly Esoteric Explanation Man, Hopelessly Rambling Victim, Mr. Nice But Narc, Miss Tie 20 Crystals Around Your Forehead, and other well-meaning, but ultimately ineffective purveyors of advice. The third little empath grew weary, and as the sun began to set, she feared that she would not be able to build a house of no contact on Hurt God's foundation before her narcissist caught up with her. Just then, the third empath turned a corner of the road, and there was a tall, athletic man who immediately exuded an air of malevolent menace. She could not see his features against the brightness of the sinking sun, but the darkness which flowed from him made her feel wary and unsettled. "Hello, third little empath. Did I hear you need to build a house of no contact?" he asked, in a voice which was authoritative, stentorian, and beguiling. Yes, I do. But I shouldn't talk to strangers, and certainly not ones as magnetic as you," said the third little empath. "Very sensible," laughed the mysterious stranger. And the third little empath was both aroused and repulsed. "But you need not worry. You are but a tertiary source, and I have more proximate empaths to toy with. Here, take this. It will serve you excellent well." And with that, the stranger pressed a buck into the shaking hands of the third little empath before he strode away, whistling "A Hunting We Will Go" to himself. The third little empath looked at the buck and saw the title, Hurt God's Ultimate House of No Contact, and she promptly fainted. Some time later, the third little empath came to, and recalled her brief encounter with Hurt God. She saw the book still nearby, and snatched it up, and immediately set about digesting its content. Even more time later, the third little empath was settling down to watch an episode of Narcland's Got Empaths, when there was a chime from her mobile phone. She saw a notification from her narc cam and opened up the application. She watched, transfixed, as she saw a shadowy figure moving towards a house caught on a concealed narc cam. "Goodness, it is the greater Narcissist," declared the third little empath. She sat in her comfortable armchair and watched remotely as the figure strolled with complete confidence up to a well-appointed house. "He has come to hoover me," announced the third little empath.
The camera had sound and vision, and she could hear the greater narcissist saying smoothly, "Little Emp, let me come in." "No way, Buster," said the third little empath. The greater strode up the steps onto the porch in full view of the camera, and turned and looked straight into the lens. He gave a radiant smile and said, "Oh, don't be like that. I've come to repair the rift between us, and I'll hoover you with an expensive gift." And then he extended a manicured forefinger and pressed the doorbell. Suddenly, a trapdoor opened, and the greater narcissist dropped out of sight. "Let's see how a period of fuel-free isolation suits you, Mr. Narcissist," said the third little empath. She set down her phone and picked up the television remote control. The third little empath patted the bug that rested on the arm of her chair. "Great work, Hurt God. Thanks to you, I set up a robust house of no contact and created a diversionary house with a false trail which the narcissist went to instead. And now he is reflecting on what on earth has just happened to him from within a sealed drum of isolation." Just then, a text arrived on the third little empath's phone, and she gave a short gasp. "HG approves," read the text.